Have you ever watched a movie just based off the movie score alone? Like there was nothing about the movie you knew. You just knew that soundtrack. Every time you heard it, you was like, oh my gosh, this soundtrack is so good. That's what happened with this movie. I heard the Interstellar soundtrack by Hans Zimmer so much. I heard it for Cat Transcendent videos, a video you can go find on YouTube, and I can play it on here because I want to get copyright claim. But this video about this cat seeing the whole universe because a leaf got put on his head, and then you get the TikToks with the soundtrack from this movie, cornfield chase, mountains, no time for, I think it's no time for something, no time for caution. Those soundtrack to this movie is so good that I had to watch this 2-hour-and-49-minute movie to see how good it was. And Interstellar was a dang good movie. And on this episode of Movie Breakdowns, I'm going to review it. What's up, world? Welcome to another episode of Movie Breakdowns. I'm your host, Ali Zakka. And before I get started, if the movie you want me to review, let me know. Please put in the comment section below and I get to it as best I can. Also Patreon.com/AliZakka. And for $2 a month, $2, you can cut in front of everybody to review out before it come out on Facebook and YouTube. And much more stuff like content conversations, topics, movie discussion. A lot more stuff is on the Patreon. Now, let's go and get today's episode, 2014's Interstellar. And this movie is about a guy who is pretty much going to space on a bunch of other astronauts to find a way to save the planet that they're on, looking for another breathable planet. Breathable? I guess another livable planet they can live on while Earth is slowly dying. So you have a bunch of astronauts trying to go to space and find another livable planet, and at the same time Earth is dying, so they're trying to save everybody on planet Earth. And when they go through a pocket on Saturn, which is a black hole, it takes them to another other universe that has some planets that they're seeing, like it could be lived on, it could not be lived on. They don't really know, so they're pretty much going on this goose chase, or not really a goose chase, but I guess a chance to find out something to live on, so they can get everybody off of Earth and onto this new planet, or if not, start a whole new habitat on this planet, which not everybody agrees with. That is pretty much the basis of Interstellar. This is a spoiler review, so if you haven't seen Interstellar, go watch it, because I'm going to spoil some stuff in this movie. But that is the basis of Interstellar. And the things that I liked in this movie, the acting. The acting is phenomenal. I mean, the acting in this movie is so good. Matthew McConaughey delivers, Anne Hathaway delivers. What's her name? Jessica Chastain, she brings it in this movie. And then Mackenzie Foy as Murph, as a young girl, she brings us into the movie as well. Like, the acting in this movie is solid. I love the acting, so good. The storyline is solid. It's a solid storyline. The storyline is good as well. It keeps you intrigued. You try to figure out what's going on, like what happens. And then when you get the characters talking about like their families and things that happen throughout the movie, and you see the actors putting 110% into their character and them breaking down in tears and the fighting and stuff like that. Like, this movie is a dang good movie. The music, the movie score by Hans Zimmer is phenomenal. Like, oh my gosh. Like, if you talk about listening to a movie score, like, this movie has 3 of my favorite songs from a movie that I've listened to. Like, I've listened to the Interstellar soundtrack so much at this point. I've listened to it on repeat, just rewatch this movie again. Granted, I was already listening to it before I seen the movie, that I had to go watch the movie to figure out when the soundtrack is played, when the music plays, when it doesn't play. So throughout the whole movie are different parts. And I will say this, when it comes to music in this movie, it's not always playing. This movie does a good job of just having the characters talk with no music in the background, nothing to keep the pacing, just slow it down a little bit. And then when it's time to get like really intense and involved, you have to play the music. You have to have the music in the background, it plays, and then it starts to bring you in and you start getting to figure out what's going on. But then there's time where it doesn't play the music and just them conversating and trying to figure out a plan to do something. Like, the music, the use of music in this movie is great. The visuals of this movie is also great. When you go to the ice planet and you see what the planet looks like, and it's actually, that film was filmed in, I believe, Greenland, and it was a beautiful scene to see. You're like, wow, this is actually pretty cool to see how this movie was filmed and see like where the filming was. Which, let me double check that. Iceland, not Greenland. Sorry, it was Iceland that scene was there when they were on the ice planet. But Iceland has grass and Greenland has ice. But it was filmed in Iceland, not Greenland. I'm sorry about that. But it was such a cool visual in this movie, and then like the water planet and all these other things. The movie visual is really, really great. It looks good. It sounds good. My only dislike is that it's long. It is long. This movie is 2 hours and 49 minutes, and it took me in 3 different sittings to watch this movie. 3 different sittings to watch this movie. At first, I got to the 40-minute mark and they started to go to space, and I was like, I'm about to fall asleep. I'll come back to it. Then I ended up watching to a point where I ended up having to leave my place, but I wanted to finish this movie. I knew for a fact I had 2 hours to get this done, but I knew I wasn't going to get it done because I had 2 hours and 49 minutes. So I finished it, and then I had to come back, and again, I left my place, came back and rewatched it, and I was like, all right. But I was on the edge of my seat. It wasn't like I wasn't sitting there just like, oh my gosh, what's next? What I'm doing here? No, I was on the edge of my seat for this movie. Like, I genuinely enjoyed this movie. Now, I would say the pacing is a little bit long to the certain spots where the movie does slow down drastically. Not just slow, like, not to the point where you're like, okay, we need to take a breather. No, I mean, like, it's slow, and it's gonna drag out the slow, especially when it gets to space and they're showing like these far away shots of space where like they make the spaceship look small, so it's showing like a larger thing. Like, it just like sits on stuff for a while in this movie, which is my only other negative. But those are 2 negatives in this movie. Everything else, like, great, phenomenal. I enjoyed this movie. Also, Matthew McConaughey, this is a personal thing for me. Matthew McConaughey, when he was talking, he would like talk like this and like, yeah, so we're gonna go to this planet and go out there in space, huh? Well, I need to go tell Murph that I'm gonna go do this. So you're telling me that my daughter is too smart for the school? You want my son to be a farmer? Okay. All right, well, really? Whereas like everybody else is talking like this, where I'm talking a little high octane and coming at you like a little louder, like, and have to be like, no, we're going to this planet to do this. And then Matthew McConaughey, so why you want to go to this planet? Because you're trying to find out Murph. Trying to find out Murph, but trying to find Edmund. Are we gonna go to this planet? We better try going to this planet over here. Like, I'm not sure why Matthew McConaughey, when I was watching this movie, like his voice didn't go up high. So anytime I heard him talk, I had to raise the volume of my TV up to hear him better. But then like the moment I raised my volume up, a big scene would happen and the music comes in, and I had to drop the volume back down so it didn't bother my neighbors below me. But that's my only negatives about this movie. Really was just the pacing of it, certain spots, and the length of it. But other than that, this movie is phenomenal. I enjoyed this movie. Truly, truly enjoyed Interstellar. Like, truly enjoyed it. Alright, let's go ahead and talk about cast, directors. So this movie is considered adventure, drama, sci-fi movie. It's 2 hours and 49 minutes long. Directed by Christopher Nolan. Written by Jonathan Nolan and Christopher Nolan. And Jonathan Nolan and Christopher Nolan, like Christopher Nolan, you're knowing he's gonna give you movies to think about towards the end, and things like, did that really happen? Did this happen? This, and his visuals for his movies, Tenet, Interstellar, the Dark Knight trilogy, like, he gives you stuff where you can sit on and chew on for a while, and he does this with Interstellar as well, and makes you wonder, makes you think about certain things. It's a really good movie. I think written well, the concept was well. Yeah, good jobs to Christopher Nolan for this movie, and Hans Zimmer coming in to help him out with this movie as well. And the budget for this movie was $165 million, and it grossed worldwide $701 million. So this movie got its money back for sure. The cast here, we had Matthew McConaughey, who plays Cooper. I think Matthew McConaughey did a good job. He broke down when he needed to break down. He was strong when he needed to be. He was determined. He wanted, his mission was to get back to his family, and he was determined to do that. And anytime he lost something or something happened, he definitely gave that emotion expression. I think that Matthew McConaughey did a good job being Cooper and being that dad who loved his family, who didn't want to leave his family, but also knows at the end of the day he's doing this for his kids. Anne Hathaway, who played Dr. Brand, the daughter of Dr. Brand, she was fine. Like, she was good. Like, Anne Hathaway had some moments where she broke down and moments where she played her role really, really well. Dr. Brand as a character seemed like somebody who was disconnected from people, who seemed like somebody who was just like, we have a mission, we gotta get this resolved. But at the same time, she had a love for a guy named Edmund, and she really wanted to find this person. As Cooper looked at Brand as somebody who, like, oh, she's attractive, but and Brand didn't really look at Cooper in that way. And I almost thought that the movie was gonna get Cooper and Brand to be a romance in this movie, and they were gonna like fall in love with each other within space and go through the stuff. No, it didn't do that. It didn't do the whole last two people kind of thing, and they have to do this to be in love with. No, I actually like the fact that it wasn't a romance movie. It didn't add romance to it. It's just like, oh, this girl's attractive. She's not into me, but I'm curious who she was about, and I kind of want to talk to her, but I don't want to talk to her because we got a mission, get back to our home with the kids, and they act like two people who end up trusting each other as a team, but they was like, as far as chemistry wise for like a relationship, they didn't match. Now I like how the movie left it that way. It's like, yeah, it doesn't work. They're two different mindsets here, but as teammates, they work together as a team to get the job done. And I love that. I love how they learn to trust each other. Anne Hathaway's Brand was great, and I like how her character in this movie was, and I think they did a good job for her. Jessica Chastain as Murph, older Murph, she was good. She was good. She brought in like the daughter who was disappointed in her father, who wanted to see her father again, and who didn't want to give up on the mission. I thought Jessica Chastain did great. Mackenzie Foy, who played young Murph, phenomenal job. She, as a daughter who was interesting and excited about something, and then when her dad was leaving, she was like down and depressed about her dad leaving and didn't like it, and she wanted to try to tell her dad like all these things. I thought she did great. The moody teen who, when like Cooper's about to leave, she's like acting all like upset in there. I thought Mackenzie Foy did a great job in this movie, like right on. And then Michael Caine as Professor Brand, he does great as always. I thought he did a good job too, like good for him. I think the cast in this movie is great. I guess I can talk about him since he does appear in this movie, and that is Matt Damon as Dr. Mann. He just appears, and you're like, what the? And he's actually in the movie for a while. I was like, okay, well, cool, neat. And then it's kind of interesting because The Martian came out the next year after this, and you're like, so he's an Interstellar, like, is that connected? The movie's not connected, but I just thought it was neat that Matthew McConaughey ended up playing two types of the same style of movie within a year apart from each other. Any other thoughts? No, I really don't have anything else. The music is great. Like I said, the soundtrack by Hans Zimmer is phenomenal. If you don't even see this movie, go listen to that soundtrack. The little movie scores, the soundtrack is great, and Hans Zimmer always deliver. The visuals of this movie is great. There's some very, very, very good visuals in this movie. You'll be amazed by the way the movie looks. Like, it looks beautiful. It holds up in the year 2022. I truly enjoyed this movie. I had nothing else to say. The cast and acting is great. Is this a Friday night movie? I don't know if it'll be a Friday night movie. Like, this is gonna be tough because the movie's 2 hours and 49 minutes long, and it takes a little bit. It does take a little bit to get rolling. Now, I don't think everybody, if you're less sure guys, are all getting together for a serious movie night. I don't think everybody will really be entrenched in this movie. It might take a little bit for everybody to really get stuck into the movie. And final grade. I'm gonna grade the movie Interstellar from 2014 a B+. This movie gets an 89% for me. I think it's a great movie. The length of the movie really hurts it for me. It's the part where like the movie's 2 hours 49 minutes long, and then sometimes the pacing of you're like, man, this is kind of slow. I watched 3 hour long movies before, but I've never been like, I gotta take it in bits and pieces versus I'm gonna sit through and watch Infinity War all the way through. So that gives you like an idea where I sit on that. So it's a B+, 89% for me for movie Interstellar. If you've seen Interstellar, well, before I let you go on that, let's check what IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes give it. So IMDb gives this movie an 8.6 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes give it a 72% out of 100% from the critics. And the audience give it an 86% out of 100%. So my 89% was higher than my B+ is higher than the audience and the critics, but 8.6 out of 10, like they're right there. So everybody else gives the movie a B. Rotten Tomatoes gives the movie a C-, whatever, and I give the movie a B+. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Interstellar. If you've seen Interstellar from 2014, what did you think? Please put in the comment section below. Other than that, see you guys next episode of Movie Breakdowns. Keep being awesome. Thank you so much for making it to the end of this video. I really appreciate that. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. If there's a review you want me to watch or do, let me know. Please put it in the comment section below this video. Also, you want to watch the last episode of Movie Breakdowns, it's right there. Just gotta click on it and you'll be able to watch it. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. Love y'all, and keep being awesome.